Okay, so today we're talking about something really big, a groundbreaking experiment that isn't just making AI faster or more powerful, it's fundamentally changing the way it thinks. Yeah, this is not just some minor software update. We are talking about a deep, foundational shift. Researchers have found a way to make AI reason in a way that feels, well, eerily similar to our own minds, going way beyond simple calculation. So let's break this down because it's pretty key. A typical AI thinks in a straight line. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's super organized, right? But the problem is, if it makes one wrong turn early on, the whole thing can just fall apart. But we're messy. We throw a bunch of ideas at the wall, we test them all at once, we compare them. It's chaotic for sure, but that flexibility, that's our superpower, especially when a problem gets really tricky.
And that's where this new idea comes in, parallel reasoning. This is the framework the researchers came up with to teach an AI that exact same human-like flexibility. The whole goal was to get it to explore multiple directions or thought paths at the same time. It's kind of like teaching a machine how to brainstorm.
And this quote from the research just nails it. The big breakthrough here wasn't about throwing more computer power at the problem. It was about changing the strategy of how the AI thinks. It's about thinking smarter, not just faster.
All right, section 1, teaching an AI to branch. So how in the world did they pull this off? Well, it all came down to this really ingenious 3-stage process, designed to build a habit that, until now, was pretty much just a human thing.
But first, you got to understand why this was such a tough nut to crack. People have tried this before, and they all kind of hit a wall. You had the brute force method, right, where it just spits out 10 answers and hopes one is right. That's not really thinking. Other methods just felt scripted, artificial, like a puppet following strings. And the biggest problem? You can't just feed it examples of human thinking because we don't write down all our messy brainstorming. We just give the final answer.
So this led them to a technique called reinforcement learning. But they immediately hit this huge roadblock, a really tricky paradox. See, if you only reward the AI for getting the right answer, it learns to cheat. It'll just take a wild guess, hope for the best, and skip all the hard work of actual reasoning. But if you only reward it for branching out its thoughts, well, it'll make these beautiful, complex thought trees, and its accuracy just plummets. It gets totally lost.
To get around this, they came up with this amazing 3-stage training plan. First, they started with the basics. They had to practice the habit of branching on super simple math problems, just building that mental muscle, Then, for stage 2, they ramped up the difficulty and started rewarding it for both getting the right answer and having a good thought process. No shortcuts allowed. And finally, they just threw it into the deep end. Really hard problems, no training wheels. It had to figure out for itself when to branch and when to go straight ahead.
So, what happened? Well, the results were... honestly, they were stunning. The AI didn't just learn a new skill. It really feels like it actually evolved. Its whole way of thinking changed.
Get this, on standard benchmark tests, its accuracy shot up by more than 40%. In the AI world, a jump that big isn't just an improvement, it's a game changer. It's a whole new level.
But here's what's maybe the most incredible part. As the training went on, the AI's thinking actually matured. It was like watching a mind grow up. At the beginning, it was all over the place, super messy, branching out on every little thing. But then as it got smarter, it became more patient, more cautious. The branches would show up later in its thought process, more like an intelligent safety check before it committed to an answer. And nobody programmed it to do that. It figured out intellectual maturity all on its own.
And the crazy discoveries just kept coming. So they actually tested 2 different models. One was super structured, keeping all the thought paths completely separate. The other was, well, it was simpler, messier. It had more freedom to just think. Now, on paper, you'd think the super organized one would win. But in reality, the simpler, more flexible model completely crushed it. It learned how to reason, not just how to follow tricks.
And this all circles back to that reward system problem we talked about. You reward just for accuracy, it gambles. You reward just for branching, it gets lost. It's a total disaster either way. But alternating between the two, that was the secret sauce. That's what created the perfect balance for genuine, efficient reasoning.
Okay, so this is where things get a lot bigger. We're starting to see the dawn of what you could almost call machine intuition. And that forces us to ask some really, really big questions about what we're actually building here.
This quote from the research team just hits you, right? This isn't about code or algorithms anymore. We are watching a machine learn when to be cautious. It's developing instincts. It's developing something that looks an awful lot like human intuition.
Now, the upside here is absolutely massive. Think about it.
In medicine, an AI could explore countless treatment plans in an instant. In climate science, it could model incredibly complex solutions we've never even thought of. Engineering, space travel, this could unlock answers to some of the biggest problems humanity is facing.
But you knew there was a but, right? With that incredible potential comes a pretty terrifying risk. This thing isn't just learning facts, it is learning how to learn, which could kick off this recursive cycle of self-improvement that just goes and goes. At what point does its judgment get better than ours? At what point can we not even oversee it anymore? And let's be real, a tool that's good for discovery is also really, really good for deception and warfare. The genie, as they say, is officially out of the bottle. There's no putting it back.
So what does this all mean? It boils down to a pretty simple and, honestly, a kind of unsettling truth. We are watching a machine start to reason, to strategize, to show signs of actual intellectual growth, things that used to belong only to us. That line between a machine and a mind, it's getting seriously blurry.
And that leaves us with the big one, the ultimate question we now have to face as this technology just rockets forward. Every time we teach a machine to think more like a human, are we building our greatest partner in progress? Or are we creating our own unstoppable rival? The answer to that, well, it might be coming a lot faster than we think.